Hi, welcome to my new video. This week I don't have that much work to do, so I'll be spending a lot of time at home and I want to finish some books on my TBR pile. And I thought what best way to read a lot of books in 1 week is to read short books. So what I did is go in my want to read Goodreads list and I just sorted it by page number and I just looked at the shortest books that were on my TBR pile, bought them, and we're gonna read them this week. If you see me skipping over some books, that means that either they haven't come out yet or there are books that do not have a page number at all. So obviously I'm gonna skip that and see what I'm in the mood for. So I think it will be a couple of novellas, short stories, maybe short graphic novels, but also maybe some non-fiction essays. Just we will see what I come across. So the first thing I've actually seen is Meeting Lister, which is just a short story by Alice Oseman, which is kind of connected to one of her young adult novels that I read a couple of years ago. It was called I Was Born for This, and it's basically about a fictional band called The Ark. And I think that Meeting Lister is kind of the origin story of how the band members met and formed the band. So I think that it is on her website. So I'm just gonna check that out and read that first to get in the mood. Welcome back. It's now 2 days later. We have Wednesday today, and first of all, just ignore this droopy plant, this monstera over here. I repotted it and cut back some roots 2 weeks ago, so it's still a bit droopy and sad looking because it's kind of in shock, but I hope it will get better. The soil looks good, so just ignore it. I did finish Meeting Lister, which I started on Monday. I think I finished it that day or yesterday, I don't really remember, but it was a really cute short story. It was for free on our website, so why not? I enjoyed it, but it was kind of a long time ago that I read the book I Was Born for This, where the band comes from. So I didn't really know all the character traits and how they later on, how the personality was in the book. So it was kind of at some point, okay, I'm not familiar with these people anymore, but still it was such a cute story and it was such a quick read, so why not? I think I would give it it's weird to rate a short story like that, but I think just 3.5 stars, something like that. It was really cute. I think you should read it immediately after reading the story or before even. I did mention it in my video I did on all of Alice Oseman's book, and I said you should read it afterwards, but I think you can. It's just you don't have that connection to the characters yet, but I think it's a solid 3.5 stars, and I think it would be even higher if I had that book fresh in mind. Then yesterday I read Fangs by Sarah Anderson, and I didn't video myself because I got through it in 10 minutes, which I didn't think, because it had 120 pages or something, but is short even for a graphic novel. So first of all, Fangs by Sarah Anderson is basically a love story between a vampire and a werewolf, and it is really cute. But what I didn't know, that it's not really a story, it's more like snippets from their life and from their relationship with each other, and kind of cliche scenes which are usually only 1 or 2 pages long. So it's not like a narrative or like a story that unfolds. It's really only just, okay, this scene and then this scene, which do not connect to each other at all. It was very, very cute. But I did get it on my Kindle because I think the physical book was 20 euros, which is a lot of money, I think, for such a short book. And then even for a Kindle, it was, I think, 10 euros. And I got it for the Kindle and it finished in 10 minutes. So I was kind of, okay, was that worth it? And to be honest, I don't really know. I think it was very, very cute. If it was much more affordable and maybe even online to read somewhere, but to buy that as a physical books for 20 euros and then finish it in 10 minutes, and it's not even a real story, I think that was a bit overpriced. And I think that's just not what I expected it to be, but it was super, super cute and it was adorable, and I get the hype around it. And if you are super into that, I think, yeah, definitely buy it. If it's not really your cup of tea, maybe it is not worth it for you. And the next update, just after I finished Facts, because it was so quickly over, I started, what is it called? And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Beckman, who you might have heard of. He's the author of Beartown, for example, and another very popular book, which I don't recall the title right now. Yeah, I've heard a lot of them from people reading Beartown, and I heard a lot about this novella. It's around, I think in the Kindle version, it's I think 90 or 100 pages, and it reads super quickly, and it's basically about an old man, a grandpa, who's basically slowly losing his memories and suffering from dementia. And we get this wonderful look inside his brain and how he himself copes with this, loss of memories. He much more frequently doesn't remember a lot of things, or even doesn't recognize his own son or his own grandson. And it really pays attention to his relationship between him and his grandson, and how kind of he tries to say goodbye to him because, over time he may not be able to. And it's so sad, but so wonderfully and beautifully written, and it kind of reminds me of my own grandma that passed away a couple of years. And I think everyone has someone like that in their life. When people get old, it's usually either the body or the mind that deteriorates first, and in the latter, it's kind of hard because that person is kind of losing bits and pieces of himself each day, and it's kind of hard to deal with. And I think that book beautifully illustrates that. And then right now I'm on page 35, and this is 37% into the book, and I just cared for these people on the second page. It was like an immediate affection I had for these people and for their situation. And if you are in for a short and kind of devastating read, this is definitely a recommendation. I've not finished it yet, but I will now. But yeah, it's also sad, but it's also very comforting in a way. Okay, what the actual hell? I was just at 79%. And suddenly it's over, and the rest is just a preview of one of his other novels called Anxious People. And I was in the middle of crying, and suddenly there was, this just page of more from the author. I'm like, give me the last 20%. I actually hate when books do that because I usually don't look at the contents. Yeah, well, it's over. Well, great. You can see that I'm crying. The rest of it was just as devastating and beautiful as the first 37%, or not even that, because obviously it was only 80% long. Oh my god, it was beautiful. I don't even know what to say about it. I think I said like what it was about in the beginning, but how all the relationships outside of his brain, like his son and his grandson, kind of relate to him, but we spend most of his time in his head, talking to his grandson in his head, or talking to his deceased wife, and their conversations are just so beautiful. And oh my god, I'm crying again. Give me a minute. Okay, let me read a couple of passages to you to kind of help you understand how he writes. For example, she stood in front of him with January in her hair, and he was lost. She was the first person in his life that he couldn't work out, though he spent every minute of it after that day trying. Or she laughs, old eyes, new sunlight, and he still remembers how it felt to fall in love. The rain hasn't arrived yet. Or my wonderful, smart little boy, the amount I love you, Noah, the sky will never be that big. There's so many beautiful passages. I did highlight way more, but the writing was so exquisite and so intimate, and I felt way closer to that feeling of being old and losing your memories. And I think you can never understand that when you are young, but it kind of gives you more insight of how that person might feel. And it was such a beautiful story, and it was so quick and way too short. I might reread it soon, and even though it was sad, it was so comforting, it was so intimate and sweet. And I would recommend to everyone, if you have someone in your life that may be in that stage of life, I don't know if that's what you want to do right now. But definitely it kind of helps me looking back on my situation and yeah, getting a bit closure with that. Sorry, planned. But yeah, that was that. I really enjoyed that. It was such a good read, and I'm so hyped to read his other novels. For example, Beartown, I had so much about it, but I never really picked it up, and I don't know why. It's maybe because I don't really know what the book is about. I think it's about a small town and the people living in it. I don't know. But now I'm just yeah, loving his writing, and I don't really care what the book about is. If he writes like this, then give it to me now. Next up, to kind of lighten the mood, now that I've cried today, I think I will go into something a bit more cute and light. And so I picked up The Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. And I don't know, I didn't really know a lot about this book. It's basically a graphic novel about, I don't really know, tea dragons, I suppose. So it says a charming fairy tale about Greta, an adventurous blacksmith apprentice, and the people she meets as she becomes entwined in the enchanting world of tea dragons. After discovering a lost tea dragon in the marketplace, Greta learns about the dying art form of tea dragon caretaking from the kind tea shop owners Ezekiel and Eric. As she befriends them and their shy ward Minette, Greta sees how the craft enriches their lives and eventually her own. So, I mean, it sounds cute, and I mean, the illustrations also look super cute. It's not really that long, and yeah, I'm really hyped for this to kind of, you know, lighten the whole mood. Some time later, and I finished The Tea Dragon Society. This was cute, I would say. So first off, what I liked about it is the graphics. It was beautifully done. All of the pages, they just burst with love and wholesomeness, and it's just so cute just to look at. That's what I really liked about it. It's basically split into 4 chapters: spring, summer, autumn, and winter, and it's about this little girl Greta, and she basically finds a little tea dragon in the market, and she brings them back to its owner and basically finds out about this tea dragon society, or about people who take care of tea dragons and then harvest tea leaves from them and make tea out of them. And the premise is so cute, and I think is very creative, the whole world. But what I did not like about it as much was that it didn't give me a lot. The small short story was cute, but it didn't make me bond with the characters that much. It didn't really make me care for how it turned out, and it was really low stakes. I mean, it is a kid's book essentially, so I can't really judge it for the depth of it as much, but I was expecting it to be a bit more complicated, a bit more deep, I guess, and maybe that was on me. Maybe I was in the wrong. It's still a kid's graphic novel. What am I expecting? But it might just not be for everyone else. I think you can compare this, for example, to Heartstopper, because this is really kids and Heartstopper is more like young adults. So Heartstopper deals way more with complicated and intimate topics, and in a very beautiful way that also attracts to adults reading it. And I think this is just really concentrated on the kids. It does not have any, you know, deep things in there. I was just expecting something a bit more from the story, like The Little Prince, that is a kid's story but still gives adults, I think, way more than kids. But this was really just for kids. So there's that. And for me, I mean, it was like 20 minutes and you were done, maybe less than that. And it was joyful, it was cute, it was wholesome. I think that's what I needed after the last one. So I'm happy to read that. It didn't give me that much, and I could have, you know, go on with my life without having read this. But it's definitely cute. I think I would rate this like 3 stars. It's not bad, it's not good. So it's cute. If you want to give this to a little child or someone in this specific age range, I think it is fantastic. But as an adult, maybe not so much. So we are 4 short novels slash short stories in, and I have 2 left, or I think I have 2 that I could now choose from. The first is The Loki Variations, The Man, the Myth, the Mischief, by Carl Johnson, and this is part of the 404 Inkling series. I have read one of these that was on grief, something about Studio Ghibli, and these are just very small, you can see the size of it, very small books, and basically about one topic that might be interesting to you, and they're super short, they're super small, you can put it in your pocket and really read it on the bus or on the train, and that's what I loved about On Grief. That didn't blow me away, but I thought I'd give another one a try, and yeah, this is about the mythical creature Loki. Loki's many things: an immortal, metaphysical shapeshifter. They're an elusive, adaptable, and therefore enduring figure. Loki is whoever we need them to be. This just explores the Norse god Loki, and it has 78 pages. And, you know, obviously they're not that big, so I think this will be a quick read. And then we also have Camilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. That was actually 30 years, I think, published before Dracula, and Dracula was hugely inspired by this book. So this is really the OG Gothic vampire story, and it's super short. The book is a bit bigger, but it has 63 pages, I assume, if that still is part of the book. So 63 pages of this, and also very short. So yeah, I tried to decide what I'm going to go for. I don't know yet. I guess we'll see you in the next update, and then we will see what I started. Psych, you really thought I was gonna keep reading after the last update? Well, no. Well, actually, yes, I read like 7 pages of Camilla, and then I had no time for the rest of the week. I guess that's the end of this video. I still hope you enjoyed those 4 little books and the anticipation and then the disappointment of that last bit. But yeah, they both stay definitely on my TBR shelf, so you're gonna see a review in the next couple of weeks from them. Yes, and on to the next week and on to the next video. Bye.